What's up, course creators? This is your boy Amit back with another video. Today I want to show you something that I am planning on implementing on my site, and that's Deadline Funnel. So I was a Deadline Funnel user in my previous life. I want to say it's been over a year now. I can tell you it works because when I did do it was like a course launch and we were closing down the doors, we did like $3,000 in a month. And I have to attribute most of that sales to Deadline Funnel. And then recently I heard Deadline Funnel on a podcast and I was like, you know what, let me give this a shot on my other website where I sell this quiz for 17 bucks, and I want to see if I can put a sense of urgency on that page, how it would work. So I'm on deadlinefunnel.com. I am on their pricing window here and they have three options. Now, because I don't have that many leads a month, I'm going to start with this option right here, but you can see this is limited to only 3 campaigns, whereas with Pro you can go to unlimited campaigns, and I'm also on their monthly billing. If I go to annual, you do save 20%. So if you want to start it out, you can start with the starter and then upgrade to Pro. And let's click on get started. I'm excited. So what I'll do is I'm going to do 2 videos. The first one is going to be me setting up the funnel and making sure everything works. And I'm using WordPress for my backend, but if you have ClickFunnels or any other lead form, you should be able to do the same. So I'm going to start with the $37 a month, and it has a 14-day trial, and that's perfect because I just want to test this out for a couple of weeks, see if it works, see if I can see a bump in sales. And I'm going to compare it to the same 2 weeks last month. I know that's not a true comparison, but because I only get a 2-week free trial, I want to do that kind of comparison. And if I am seeing a bump in sales, I'm going to continue using Deadline Funnel. If not, I can always cancel it before my trial ends. So let's go ahead and start this. First thing, they want our details. So I'm going to fill this out and then pause this video, come back once I have it all filled out, and then we'll continue. All right, so I have my information filled out. Now on the next step, I'm going to be asked my credit card information, and I have this nifty Chrome plugin here for my Capital One card. Apologies, I'm having a tough time talking today. So I'm just going to fill out all my information here. What this extension does, it's called Eno by Capital One. And if you have a Capital One credit card, it essentially generates a virtual number that you can use. So if Deadline Funnel's account gets hacked, my data or my credit card number is still safe because this was just a virtual number. It's not my actual credit card number. So I'm just going to click here, and that fills in the card details. I'm going to put in my name and then my zip code, and we can start using Deadline Funnel. When you create your account, you're going to be given this upsell option. So another great thing that we course creators can learn from is if you don't want to go through the option of setting up the Deadline Funnel, they will do it for you, and it's like a one-time charge of 120 bucks. So right now Deadline Funnel is asking me what platform do I plan to use Deadline Funnels with, and you have all these different options. So most likely one of your lead forms like Teachable or any other online school that you're using, Kajabi or Kartra, is going to be here. In my case, it's WordPress, so I'm going to select that. And my email service provider is MailerLite, so just look for your email service provider here. Why they ask for this information, which is very interesting and important to note, is if they know your email service provider, they want to make sure that your countdown timers sync across platforms, which means that if someone goes to your sales page and they see a timer and maybe they were sent to that sales page from your email marketing platform, say you send them an email saying, hey, this offer is ending tonight at midnight, and there is a countdown timer within your email service provider, that's going to match when they go to your sales page, and there's not going to be a discrepancy. That's going to build trust with your audience, and they will know that this really is going to end. So I'm going to hit next here, and then they're asking me what kind of funnel am I trying to build, and I'm trying to build just like a simple 7-minute funnel, but for you it might be different, and these are all the different options that they have. So I'm just going to select this minute opt-in upsell, and here's a quick video from their founder, Jack Bourne. I have already seen this. I'm not going to bore you with it, so I'm just going to go ahead and create a campaign. And now you're at the campaign creation page. Now, as you will see, so far the kind of like the flow of things have been very fluid, right? I haven't had to figure out what the heck am I doing. And that's important to note when you're creating your own course, is make sure when your students are logging into your course backend that it's the same kind of experience for them. The user experience is fluid and they don't need to wonder where the heck should they go next. So my campaign name is going to be 7-minute, I think it's 7-minute upsell. I'm not going to give it a category yet, and these two are perfect. I'm just going to hit next. So I don't know why this is being asked again, because they already asked this. So I'm just going to select the 15-minute opt-in again, and then I'm going to say, in my case, it's going to be 7 minutes. Here's my time zone, and then these are some of the examples that they give, that what's going to happen when that countdown timer hits 0, or what are your users going to see. And then finally, the funnel step is where are your visitors, your users going to land to see this timer, and what's going to happen when that timer is over. So first, my users are landing at this URL, and I'm going to show you in a second what my funnel looks like. And then once this 7-minute timer has expired, I want them to go to this page. All right, so this is my regular page. It's my upsell page, and here you can see this says $17. And if they end up on the expired page, then the price goes up to $27. So I'm going to copy this URL and paste it here. Very simple. I know it has expired in the end of it, so I know where I'm using it, and it's only really in Deadline Funnel. I'm not using this page anywhere else. You can add new funnel steps if you wanted to, but for now, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to hit finish. Now, before we get into designing the Deadline Funnel, now you have a bunch of other steps to go through. So here are all your steps right here. I want to show you what my flow looks like. And I'm using this app called funnelytics.com.io. And in here, it's free to use. You can have a visual flow for your funnel. So I can see, here's how I'm acquiring my users. They start with my blog post on Medium. And once they have consumed that blog post, a few percentage of them get to my lead magnet page, which is on WordPress. And then when they opt into the lead magnet page, instead of sending them to a thank you page, I send them to this upsell page, because it's a small dollar amount. It's only $17. And because they've opted in, I just want to see if they're ready to talk with their wallet and give me that $17. From that upsell page, they are taken to a checkout page, which is hosted on Thrivecart. And I'm going to combine all of this eventually on Zenler. But because Zenler is currently in beta, I already had all of this set up elsewhere, and once Zenler is fully refined, hopefully in a month or two, it's already a great product. They're just working through some minor refinements. Then all of this will be on one platform, and I won't have to worry about all these different steps. And then finally, they're taken to a thank you page, which is also on Thrivecart. So that's what my funnel looks like, just so you can see a visual of what I'm working with. Now, back at Deadline Funnel, they want us to go through all these steps, and this is going to help you make your Deadline Funnel timer, and also make sure that it's congruent with any other pages that you add that code to, or your email marketing platform, whether it's MailChimp, MailerLite, or whatever else it may be. I do have a preference of MailerLite, and I will link to a blog post that I had written where I suggest why you should use MailerLite instead of MailChimp. So let's click on Start Setup. So first thing we want to do is, it's a floating bar, and what does that look like? We can go into Edit Appearance or Edit Settings. So we've already done the settings part. Now I'm going to move on to the appearance part, and just to show you real quickly, settings part is where we set the URL, and then also where they're going to redirect it when the URL expires. Now this is for a floating bar. If you don't want a floating bar, you can also choose one of these other options. I personally have never used them. I always have used a floating bar, and I just stick to it. It works, but your use case might be different, so go with what works best for you. So here's the design of the floating bar, and it automatically pulls in my page based on the URL that I have told Deadline Funnel that I'm going to install this on, which is great because you get to see this right within Deadline Funnel's UI, kind of like the user interface, what it's going to look like. I love this. So here are some options here, and there are some options on this side. So let's go through each and every one of them. The first one, you can look at it from desktop, on mobile, on tablet, and then mobile. On mobile, it just basically becomes a small timer. but doesn't tell the users what this timer is for. We can change that, and I'll show you how. Let's go back to desktop, and what I want to do is I want to change some of the colors here and also the text. So first you have to select a base, which is, I clicked on the template option here, and then here you have custom color options. You have a custom avatar. I'm not going to do the avatar. You can enable full width bar. So if I enable this, it's going to be the entire width of the page. I'm not going to do that either. So color palettes, they already have some predefined color palettes, but my color here is orange. So I'm going to go to custom. Oh, looks like I cannot do custom because I'm not on the, it's a premium feature and I have to upgrade. All right, well, looks like we're going to stick to standard color palettes here. So I'm going to look for something that's closely related to my orange. And when you select a palette, you have three options. You can go medium, subtle, or bold. And you'll see as I select these options, the color palette down here changes. So I'm going to try to pick one that works best for me, and I'm going to pause this video real quick, come back and show you what I have selected. Okay, so I went with the color palette which says make a statement, and I'm going to keep it at medium. So when I do bold, the colors are inverted and doesn't really look bold. This one looks more bold to me. And even though it's not the exact brand orange that I'm looking for, it's close enough, and it also stands out a little bit and gets the user's attention. That's the idea. So I'm going to stick to that. So once I've selected the base, I can hit continue. Now the content is kind of like the written words on this banner right here. So I'm going to say hurry, price goes to in, and whatever the timer that you have. So that this quotation, or kind of like the open and close curly brackets within that, the deadline text is what's going to show here. So the deadline text is the day that the price is going to go up, and if you don't want that, I can just delete that, and it says the price goes up in, and I can just put some open brackets here, or whatever bracket these are, triangle, and that's it. Now enable call to action is, if I remove this, that button disappears. So I can either remove this button or I can leave it as is. I'm going to leave it as is, and then it only has a limit of 11 characters, unfortunately. So you have to be creative with what you can put in here. So I'm just going to say enroll now, an exclamation. That's close to 11 characters. And then the URL that they're going to be taken to is the same as this $17 button URL, which is my Thrivecart URL. So I'm going to go into my products here, open call to action in new window. You can either say yes or no. I'm going to say yes, open it in a new window, and continue. So we have taken care of the template, the content, and here's the content right here. Hurry, price goes to $27 in 7 minutes. Right now it's just showing kind of like a placeholder timer, but once you go live, it's going to be the actual timer. And then the placement, I want it to be 75%. Because I also have another CTA call to action here for them to spin. I can go 50%, but then that hides the text. So I'm going to go 75%, and because this is conflicting with this wheel right here, I'm going to change the location of this banner to be on top of page. So I'm going to go top, center of page, and you have all these different options to choose from. So essentially you can go left, right, center, either top or bottom. So top, center of page. That's perfect. I'm going to hit continue, go back to placement. Yeah, I think I'm all set with placement. And then presets, I don't have any presets here right now, but if you had a preset, you can do it here. You can select a preset. Now, a couple of other things you can do is translate. So that's hours, minutes, days, hours, minutes, and second. If you want to translate it to something else, you can do that. That's in here. Days, hours, minutes, seconds. So if I call this months instead of days, it's going to change right here to MONT. It only takes 4 characters, so just remember that. I'm not going to do that. And then finally, settings. Here it's asking when do you want this to display. I'm going to say after 5 seconds, because I also have a message at the top of the page, which I just realized that actually I'm going to do after 10 seconds, because, and I'll show you why. Let me go back here, go back to appearance and placement and change this placement. So see right here, it says your mock test questions are on their way. The link will be sent to your email, blah, blah, blah. So if you have a message at the top of your page, I don't want this deadline funnel bar to come and the way of that message. So that's why I'm going to give my users 10 seconds to read this and then show this message. So you can do up to a minute. I'm going to keep to 10 seconds. You can also do show hide option, so they can hide this if they wanted to, and then maximize on mobile. And what that does is, let me go to mobile. Now on mobile, you can see it doesn't show what my text is, but if I do maximize on mobile, it shows this entire box, and that's what I want them to see on mobile. So I'm going to keep that. I'm also going to go back and change its position to top center of page. Perfect. Continue. So in settings, you can choose when to display this. Also, if you want to remove the branding, you have to be on a higher package to remove the branding. So if I go and try to turn this off, I cannot do that because I'm not on the premium plan. You can show the hide option, which allows them to close this out. I want them to be able to close that out because it could be annoying. I understand that. And I also want it to be maximized on mobile so they see the full message. And I'm going to apply this to all pages. So essentially what this means is you can either apply it to current page. So if you have multiple pages in your funnel, every page you want it to be different, you could do that, but you have to be on the premium plan. So your only other option is to apply to all pages. And we are all set. So I'm going to exit this now. The next step is email setup, which I'm not going to need because I'm not sending I capture my users' emails, but I'm not sending them an email with a deadline timer because this is just a 7-minute timer that's going to then change the pricing for them. So this doesn't apply to me, but if most likely will apply to you. So make sure you go through this step as well. All right. So after email comes appearance. So we actually already took care of appearance. So I was just jumping steps here. And then settings, you can either have this evergreen, you can have a hybrid option, or you can have a fixed option. So if I go to hybrid, you can select what day of the week you want to display this. And again, this based on your use case, you would select one of these options, or you can have a fixed. That means when a user lands on a page, they get their own personal deadline. And that's the whole purpose of deadline funnel, is every user gets their own deadline unique just to them. And this way you don't have to have one static countdown timer that applies to everyone, and then you have to go when the countdown is over and change a bunch of links and stuff. So this applies only to one person at a time. They all have their own unique deadline funnel. So I'm going to click on evergreen. So it's 7 minutes, and that's when they hit that page for the first time, and then they are taken to the expired page. Now if you were also doing a launch, you could do a pre-launch campaign where users are sent to a pre-launch page, and if you wanted to do that, you could enable that here. And here you can see what the pre-launch option is. I'm not really doing a pre-launch here, so I'm not gonna look into this, and I don't think most course creators, unless you're at a level like Marie Forleo or Amy Porterfield, you're doing a pre-launch. And then finally, again, you have the option to select your email service provider. We already have ours selected, and they have a ton of options here. So most likely your option is going to be listed. If not, they also integrate with Zapier, so you can do that. And with that, I think our funnel is ready. So I'm going to hit save. Now the next step for me is to take the tracking code of this funnel and add it to my WordPress page. But in your case, it could be Teachable, it could be Thinkific, it could be ClickFunnels, it could be Leadpages. The process is still going to be the same. You're still going to be given a tracking code, and you basically copy the tracking code and go into your, so I'm in my WordPress, edit option for my WordPress, and I'm using a plugin called Thrive Themes. You might not use Thrive Themes, you might be using something different, and hopefully you know where to go plug this code in. If not, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. So you're going to go to settings, or I'm going to go to settings, and I want to say it's in advanced settings, custom scripts, and I'm going to put this in the body of the, it doesn't say whether I need to put this in the, add it once to any page or website that you want deadline funnel. All this doesn't tell me if I need to put it in the head or the body, so I'm going to put it on the body of the page. And essentially what this means is, if you put it in the head of the page, it's going to, your page is going to wait to load before the code is, it's kind of like order of execution. Anything that's in the head of the page, so the page header scripts have to load first before your website visitors can see your website, and that could sometimes slow your load speeds for your page. So I'm running a split test right now, so Thrive Themes is just reminding me of that. That's okay. I'm going to say save and update the test. And then I'm going to do the same on my expired page. So I'm going to pause this video, add the script to both my pages, and then come back. All right, so the scripts are inside my WordPress dashboard on the pages that I want it to be. I did a little bit of quick testing, and what I realized was that 10 seconds was way too long because your users could be bouncing off your page in less than 10 seconds. So I'm actually going to change this to 5 seconds instead of 10 and apply to all pages. And now what we're going to do is let's go to incognito, and I am going to actually set a timer, start timer, 5 seconds. So because this took a couple of seconds, you'll see that the timer should, all right, here goes my timer. It's not showing on my page, so I'm assuming that I need to clear cache. And I also actually tested it already in incognito, so I'm not sure, because I already tested it once, it might not work again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a different browser, go in private window, and then try it. So I have to assume I'm doing this as a user who's just landed on this page, and then they're going through it. They have about 5 seconds before the countdown timer kicks in and gives them that 7-minute warning. And what I have noticed is Deadline Funnel is great because it creates that sense of urgency, right? It's telling your users to take action or do something, otherwise the time's going to run up. And that's when most people take action, is when they are being forced to do something. So I can see that this isn't showing the countdown timer, and I think I know because I already did it once. So if your users have already done it once, they're going to be redirected to the expired page and not show it to them. And that's what I'm assuming is happening here. Here's the timer on the window that I did have open. So you can see that it's counting down because it's a 7-minute timer. I did this 3 minutes ago, and it's counting down the time to when it reaches 0. And at that moment, it is going to your users are going to be redirected to the expired page. Now, one thing to note here that I wish was an option is there is no way for me to get rid of days and hours. So because this is a 7-minute timer, I don't care about the days and hours, but I don't have that option to get rid of it. And I had reached out to their support team, they're awesome. Like, they replied to me within less than a minute, but they told me that that's right now not an option. So hopefully something in the roadmap that they can do where I don't need my users to see hours and days when that's not really relevant to my timer. And then your users also have the option to hide this. And once they hide it, it's kind of gone and they cannot see it again, but they should know that the redirection is still going to happen. When the 7 minutes run out, they're going to be redirected to the $27 page instead of the $17 page. So I think that was it. If I go back into my Deadline Funnel here, a couple of other options. You can get your tracking code. You can view all your campaigns. Let me go pages. Maybe that's what it was. Let me just try this one more time here, because I hadn't hit the save button. So maybe the 5-second rule didn't apply just yet, or because I'm on the same IP, that timer might now start at whatever the remaining time was from that 7 minutes. So let's give it one last try. If not, at least you got to see how the timer works, and I know this will work for any user visiting this page. And I'm really excited to see what the results are going to be after implementing Deadline Funnel. I hope I see a bump in sales, and hopefully it's worth the $37 a month investment. We will find out. Now, one thing I do want to try to do is also implement this same countdown timer on my checkout page, so there is congruency there as well. So I'm going to copy this code again, go into my checkout page here for my Thrivecart option. Let's go back to products, go edit this product here, go to checkout, go to tracking, and let's see code so I can get rid of it. Now this should work on my checkout page as well, so that the user is able to see that same timer going on, the 7-minute timer. But I have not programmed what happens when the checkout page URL expires, so I will have to do a second campaign for that. That once the checkout page, when the 7-minute expires, redirect them to a different checkout page, which should be the $27 one instead of the $17 one. I don't want to put that kind of pressure on these users, because if they have already made it to the checkout page, I also have a cart abandonment sequence that automatically kicks in if they do not purchase. So I also have that on the back end as well. So I think that was kind of it for how to use Deadline Funnel. That was kind of gist of it. There are other settings here you can look at. So you can create a new campaign from here. You can edit existing campaign. You can look at your event tracking. You can look at all the different integrations that they have that you can create. So I can just go and create a new integration, integrate with Zapier or one of these other platforms. And then in my account, you have all your account settings. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and also leave a comment if you like this and you'd like more videos like this. And if you are part of my Zenler bonus, then you already have access to the Funnelytics training where I show you how you can map your funnel using this free software. Thank you again, and I'll catch you on the other side.